Howdy, YouTube pards. Jack Spade back here with you, High Noon Leatherworks, for another leather adventure. And today we're going to continue the ammo bag. And in this series, we're doing an ammo bag for Old West shooting, and we're doing it in basically a three-tone color scheme. So on this episode, we're going to be doing some lacing. So come on in and we'll get started. We have both ends, which are in the saddle tan color, and then we have the main part of the bag here that's done in the dark brown dyed color. And we're going to lace these saddle tan ends with the rest of the bag. So we're going to use this lace, which is, I would say it's light brown in color. And you can see the difference in that. That's what's going to give us our tri-tone color effect. That's going to be our third color. And I've got several pieces of it here. I'm hoping to make it's pre-cut when I bought it, so I'm hoping to make it around one full time, just with one piece on each end. So I'll turn this piece over so that the raw side is facing up. I want to make sure that my dyed side of the end, or my finished side, is facing out, and then make sure that my holes line up down here at the bottom. I'm going to fold this over, and I'm going to start here at the top, and I'm going to take my lace. The first thing I'm going to do is tie a nice tight knot in it. So I want to make sure it's good and tight. And you have to make sure you have some good strong lace also, because once this lace, if you let it start dry rotting, you won't be able to pull it tight enough. You go to pull on it tight to tighten your stitches, and it'll want to break on you. So the first thing I'm going to do is put my lace through that first hole from the inside, pull that through, and then you can see the knot on there. And that's what's going to keep that pulled tight as I start and go around this piece. So if I pull this up, my first hole is going to match up to the first hole in the bag, the ammo bag. So I'll go in the first or top hole on that side, and I made these holes to fit this lace very snug. So what I'll do is I'll line those holes up, and then as we start moving around to the bottom where the bag's going to fold, then I'll start moving the end piece over. So I'll try to keep it as straight as possible, or as flat as possible right now, because I want it to be nice and tight as I lace this up. And then I want my laces to be good and straight. So the key to this is when you're pulling those laces through, making sure that the lace doesn't get twisted or turned. So I'll pull that lace through to the knot, and then pull that one through so that it's good and tight. And again, I'm going to pull on that, snug that down. I want to make sure this is good and tight. Then I'll go through the back side, and you can cut a little point on that, make it a little easier to get started. This is just a squared off edge. Take a nice pair of heavy scissors and cut a little point on that. That'll help it get started. Again, I'm just going through one thickness. You just press that point down in there, grab a hold of the other side. Helps if you have fingernails, or you could use, I always have my trusty tiny needle nose pliers so you can grab a hold of it. Pull that through. Again, I want to make sure that it's not twisted. I want to make sure that it's nice and straight so that I get a good solid stitch. And then I'll go through the bag hole that lines up with that hole on the side piece. And again, it's easier to go through the side that's finished because that's the side that I actually ran the punch through, so it's more rounded. So it's easier to pull that lace or push that lace through there. So that stitch will look just like the one on the other side. And then you'll just continue down. And again, like I said, going through this side where the hole was punched from is much easier than going through the rough side. So again, I want to make sure that this is good and straight. You can spin that as need be, and then I'm going to pull that good and tight. As I pull that tight, you can start to see a little wave in this as you go down, and what that does is just show you that it is actually pulling that tight. So I'll go back on the back side again, go through the next hole, and to get it started, especially on the rough side, is I like to stick that pointed edge in there and then twist it a little bit. And what that does is it helps push that through the hole until you can get a hold of it. And I've got a hold of it through the back side here. Now I'll push it through the bag side, grab it again, and again, it's so much easier to push it through the other side where the holes are rounded. Once you get it through there, you notice it just pulls right through. And it does make a super strong stitch, and there's not going to be any bullets coming through there. See how easy that goes through that side? So much easier to do the finished side than it is the unfinished side going through this way. Try to get that as pointed as possible. And I can get a hold of that with those needle nose, and then go through the bag side and grab a hold of it with the needle nose. So yeah, you struggle a little bit on the rough side, the unfinished side of the leather, but then, as I said, when we come back to this side, it should push straight through because those holes are rounded, and it pretty much goes right through both pieces, especially if you kind of twist it. It makes it easy to grab a hold of. And as I say that, then I struggle a little bit with this one. There it goes. And the whole key while you're doing that is to make sure that you're pulling that tight and that you keep that lace nice and straight so it doesn't get twisted up on you. You don't want your stitches being twisted. So you want them nice and straight. And I probably could take my stylus and through this rough side, push my stylus through there and then open that hole up just a little bit, or round that hole on this side just a little bit, and make it much easier to get it through the rough side. So I can try that, and it helped a little bit. And then I'll go through the bag side. Again, these small needle nose are the key, where you can really grab a hold of it. Again, pulling that tight every single time you pull that lace through there. You want to pull it tight. I'm going to cut this end off again into a point because it kind of gets smashed down as you go. And that one went through both pieces very easily. Pull that through. Make sure it's lined up before I give it a good pull tight. And you can see how the laces are really starting to come along there. Take my stylus through the holes, twist it a little bit, kind of round that off. See if that helps. Through the side piece. It does help quite a bit, rounding that off before I try to put that lace through there. And you can probably see the lace better on this side, on the inside, than you can the outside. So what's going to look sharp though is that 3 tritone color of all these different leathers, different colors of leather. So I'm going to pull this through, make sure it's straight, just like the rest of them. Now this one's a little bit longer because that starts the bottom down here, this part. I'm done with that first side, so I'll put that through that end, make sure that it's straight again, and then this is where I'm going to fold this up, and actually it'll start forming the shape of the bag. And then I'll have to come through the back side, and again, if I use my stylus, it seems to help stretch that out quite a bit. And let's go through the bag. Again, I'm just going to keep pulling that and turning it until I make sure I get that good and tight, because it's going to want to start turning that corner. You can see right here, it's going to start turning that corner, and this is where it's going to get a little tough. So you want to make sure you keep pulling that tight, because we want that corner good and tight. And then try to hold on to that. Notice I'm holding on to that lace with that finger and thumb while I'm getting ready to pull this one back through the other direction. And once you start getting this locked in down here, if you can keep it straight and untwisted, and that's the key, so that your laces stay nice and straight, once you hit that corner, then it's going to start straightening up for you on the end of that bag. So I'll push my stylus through again to open that hole up a little bit. And the further I go around this corner, the more that is going to close up. So for every stitch, and you got to be careful, because I just pushed that through there, and that stitch, my other stitch, wanted to pull out or loosen up. So as I pull this one down, we'll make sure we get that one tight also. You can probably hear that leather really stretching. So as I hold that down, I'll push my lace through that hole, through my side piece, and then make sure that it's turned. I don't want to get this far and then have a piece that's all twisted up. Pull that tight. Hold that. I'll push my stylus through on this side and on the back. Now I'm going to go through the back side of the end here. I can grab it. It seems like if I use the stylus, I can grab it with the with my fingernails and pull it through pretty easily. Now I got to come back and put that through the back side of the bag itself. And now that's when I'm going to turn this, rotate that, and pull that tight the other direction. Because we want these corners good and tight. We don't want bullets, because this is going to be an ammo bag. We don't want bullets sliding out of the corner of this bag. So we will pull that real good and tight. I have to push that corner down just a little bit. There we go. And you can see it's starting to come around that corner. So I got to get some torque on that. I'm going to go through the bag side and the inside, or the end, and pull that through, make sure it's straight, and then that's what's going to pull that corner down. So that way nothing's going to come through there. I'm going to hold that with my other hand, because I don't want that spreading back out. And I probably ought to try the stylus again. From the inside here. And I'll pull on that real good and tight. Try to keep this closed up the best I can. Again, I'm going to push that through and kind of twist it as I do, and that's what's going to make it stick through there so I can grab a hold of it and pull it out. Then I'll stick it through the bag side. Again, I'm holding on to that. I don't want to let go of that, because if I let go, it's going to want to I want to make sure it doesn't let go. I want to keep that good and tight as I pull that around. So I'll go through the front, into the side, and as I come up that side, this side that I'm lacing now, you'll notice that'll just keep closing up right here. So as I pull that up that side, and I keep that nice and tight, and that's why I'm keeping my other finger on it, I'll keep that nice and tight, and that'll just keep closing up real nice. It takes some strength to do this, and persistence, and a little bit of coordination, because you have to get that lace in that hole and either pull it through with your fingernails or get a hold of it with your small needle nose pliers. Again, I'm looking on the inside to make sure that all my laces are nice and straight, not twisted. And keep pushing that end over. Underneath, keep that end underneath that bag part. it's still much easier to do it from outside in. And as that bag comes around that corner and goes down that side, it just keeps closing up tighter and tighter. So I'll hold my finger on there, line those up, put my stylus through there, round those holes out a little bit, come back with my lace from the inside, and once I have those holes lined up, I should be able to force that lace in there and hopefully pull it through both pieces, both thicknesses at one time. And again, it depends on how well they line up. As you could see when I went to go grab it that time with the needle nose, it wanted to fall out of the second thickness. So I'll grab it, or I'll attempt to grab it through the first thickness, which is the actual side. Then I'll go through the bag side separately. Seems like I have a lot more success going from outside in, and again, I'm sure it's because of the holes. Double check, make sure I'm straight on the inside. Flatten that out so it gets good and tight. Hold that. And then push that through both thicknesses. Make sure your lace is straight. Pull tight. Use the stylus to open that hole up a little bit. And it looks like I'm going to have plenty of lace for one piece here. That's very good. Didn't really want to piece it if I didn't have to. Much better to use one solid piece of lace. And pull that good and tight. Now my holes should line up. My last two holes should line up pretty good. Push and twist, push and twist. Good and tight. And I'll use stylus again. And go through my last hole. And then through the bag. Straighten up my lace. Now, you notice I ended on the outside of my bag here instead of the inside for my knot, because my knot started on the inside on the other end. So there's a couple of things I could do. I could take this, wrap it around, stick it back through, and then put my knot on the inside, or I could put my knot on the outside. On this one, I'm going to put my knot on the outside because it's going to be on the back of the bag anyway. So it's not going to be on the front where it closes, it'll be on the back. So I'm going to pull that good and tight. Keep that turned, pushed down. And then as I make my knot and I put my lace through there, I just keep pushing that knot tighter and tighter against the back. You can see now I've got a good hard tight knot right here, so it's not going to come apart. Once I get that good and tight on there, I'll pull it good and tight again, make sure, and I'll take my scissors, or you can take a knife, and I'll cut that off. So you can see I had quite a bit left actually doing one side. So there's one end or side finished of the bag. So I'll do the other side and then I'll bring you back. Alright, back at the end of the second side, do the same thing, get it good and tight, put our knot in our lace, and then scoot that knot all the way down tight against the leather, and tighten that as tight as you can get it. Really pull on that. That's why I was saying earlier, if you have got to have some really tough lace, because if you don't, if it's near any rottenness to it at all, it's going to snap as soon as you start pulling real tight on that. So there's both ends of it done, front and the back. That can hold quite a bit of ammo in there. And you can see how the three tones of the different leathers, you know, you got the saddle tan sides or ends, you got the dark brown actual case itself, and then the light brown lace. So this is gonna close like so, and then next time you come back, the next episode, we'll put a latch in here with a deer antler for our closure. So there's the next step on the ammo bag done. Come back next episode, we'll be putting our closure on there using a deer antler, and we'll probably go ahead and make a strap for it. It's pretty big to mount on your gun belt, so, or on your waist, so I'll probably make a strap that'll go over your neck and your shoulder, so you can hold it up here, and then you can swing it out of the way when you're shooting, or you can take it off at the shooting bench, whatever you prefer. But it's coming along, it's looking sharp. I love the three-tone color, and please come back, see the next episode, and like I always say, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.